Hey, I'm glad you could join me. I got to play Fantasy Life and Hotel Galactic and a ton of other really cool indie games at this year's Tokyo Game Show 2024. I also had like a tragic encounter with Infinity Nikki. I went on a whole emotional journey with Infinity Nikki that I will tell you more about later. But anyway, welcome. This is the first episode of bubchi babble, I guess, where I will be sitting down and chatting to you about cozy game things casually. And this episode is going to be about Tokyo Game Show 2024 because I attended just the other day. I went on the first day of it. It's like a 4-day thing, and it happens in Tokyo. Actually, okay, so fun fact, that's Tokyo. But Tokyo Game Show doesn't actually happen in Tokyo. It happens in Chiba, which is like a neighboring prefecture. But Tokyo Game Show sounds cooler, I guess. No shade to Chiba, but yeah. Anyway, what was the point of that? Was what I was trying to say was yes, I went there on Thursday. It was the first out of a 4-day event, and I went on a business day, which is a little different. So my partner is a game developer. I also have a background in game design, and I currently collaborate with him on some of his games as like a writer. So yeah, that's how I got a business day pass. So I have actually been to this event before. In like previous years, I've gone 2 times, but it's been on a public day, and this was my first time going on business day. But before we get into the nitty gritty of what I played, what Tokyo Game Show was like, and everything else, I thought it would be fun to like picnic and like talk to y'all. So if you want, you can go outside and have a picnic with me too. Quick little 7-Eleven haul for you. I got an egg salad sandwich. Yum yum. I also got these peaches, and I forgot to get like a fork or a spoon or anything to eat them with, so I might just not eat them or eat them with my hands. Let me see how willing I am to get my hands sticky. And I got this oat latte. I have never tried this drink before, but I'm excited to try it and see if it's any good. Finally, we have some strawberry chocolate. Galbo galbo. This is one of my faves. I think like a coworker gifted this to me my first year in Japan when I was working as an English teacher, and I always think of her when I get these now. I hope you're doing well. It's good. Okay, so let me paint the scene for you. Thursday morning, we went on the first day of TGS 2024, and we live about 2 hours away, so it was a bit of a journey, and as usual, we ended up leaving a little later than planned, my partner and I. And so I think we ended up getting there around 12-ish. So Tokyo Game Show actually starts at 10. So it's like 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. On the Thursday. So we got there around noon. We met up with our friend there, and we all like had some snacks and like bought some snacks to prepare ourselves because we knew it was going to be a long day. And then we headed in. So is this a little slanted? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Maybe the world is slanted. Slanted earthers. Where are you at? Let me know what your theories are. I'm gonna have my egg salad sandwich now. Definitely got that egg salad all over my mouth. So it's noon. We walk into the halls of TGS, and it's held in like this giant convention center. It's called the Makuhari Messe. It's like by the bay, like the ocean vibes. So yeah, it's held across several giant halls, like it's ginormous, and there's like, I don't know, like 9 or 10 halls of like things to see. I don't know. It's a lot. Okay, there's a lot. There's several giant rooms. Almost everything is in the same building, but in different halls. But then the indie section is in its own building. And the indie section, I already knew was the one that I wanted to spend the most time in for sure. It was my favorite section in the previous years when I went to TGS. I just love seeing what's there. It's like such a fun way to stumble upon new games that you wouldn't have otherwise, you know? Like I can always, yes, scroll through Steam or watch like YouTube videos, like the videos I'm gonna be making to discover games, but I feel like there is something very fun about discovering games through festivals or conferences or conventions like this, because you just kind of stumble upon it organically. Like you see the booth, or you see someone playing it over their shoulder, or you talk to the developer, and like that's like what kind of generates the interest. And I think there's just something really wonderful and lovely about that. So I just love the spirit of that, and I think it's fun to discover games that way. Anyway, blah 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 blah. Knew I wanted to get over to the indie section as fast as possible, but I wanted to kind of be strategic and like figure out like what of the big game booths and like the big publishers that were there and the big developers and studios, like see like the AAA stuff, make a note and like kind of bookmark it for later to come back to later in the day, so that I could go to the indie game section first, spend most of the day there, and then circle back to like the few AAA things that I wanted to hit. So that was the plan of attack. That was the strategy. Okay, and it semi worked out, but not quite. Let's get into it. So I'm gonna go through my day like just chronologically, because that just makes the most sense to me. So we walk in, we're walking through, and I think one of the first big things I noticed is that throughout the hall ways, I'd seen the posters for Fantasy Life, so I knew it was in there. I knew level 5 was in there, and I was like, I have to, for sure, play Fantasy Life. And I was like just keeping my eyes out for them. And I found them pretty soon. They had a beautiful big booth. I'm going to put up footage and stuff. I should be doing that already, I guess, on the screen. I got so excited when I saw it. I saw that there was a line, and I was like, okay, I need to make sure I have enough time to like wait in line to play this, because of course this is going to have a line. Though honestly, I'm surprised that it didn't have a longer line. Not that I'm complaining. But I just feel like in my mind, Fantasy Life is like the biggest game of this year, even potentially. I know it's been delayed now, and we'll talk more about Fantasy Life in a little bit, but yes, it's been delayed to next year, but up till now, or up till recently, we thought it was going to come out this year, and it's like the biggest anticipated release for me this whole year, and I think that's the case for a lot of cozy gamers. I think it's that, and then like there's also the new Zelda game, the new actual like The Legend of Zelda game, Echoes of Wisdom, right? But yeah, I feel like those are the two hard hitters, but I guess like the difference between the two is that Fantasy Life is still quite niche. And I think it's like very, very well known amongst cozy gamers or just people who are fans of like the life sim genre, but not so much others. So yeah, I was surprised, but not disappointed to see that the line wasn't too long. So I was like, all right, I need to budget maybe like 30 minutes to be able to hit that up at the end of the day. And then we continued walking through. We saw some random stuff like Palworld was there. Okay, I was actually, so it's so funny because I was keeping my eyes out for Pokemon because I do love Pokemon, and I was like, would love to see if they're there. I don't think there was any Pokemon related stuff. I could be wrong. Maybe that's silly and they were there and I just missed it. But like, I swear to God, like I did not notice Game Freak. But now I'm saying that and I'm like, they must have been there, right? I don't know. I just don't remember seeing them, because if I had, I would have wanted to go and see whatever they were showing for sure. Like I am so excited for the new Pokemon, like the sequel to Pokemon Arceus, the Pokemon Legends Z or whatever it's called. Very excited for that. Anyway, I didn't see them, but it's so funny because we were walking from one hall to the next, and I see this giant like statue, and I'm like, oh, it's Pokemon. I found Pokemon. I need to spend some time here. It wasn't Pokemon, it was Palworld. And like, listen, like Nintendo doesn't need more money or whatever. I know they're suing Palworld, and like I want, I hope those devs are okay. They've created a cool game that clearly lots of people love, that is fulfilling, like it's filling a gap that has not been filled so far, like as far as like being like kind of this major like competitor to Pokemon and kind of offering something different, because it's like, I don't know, cute monsters, but also shooting and like management and stuff. I personally am not interested in playing Palworld because I don't want a Pokemon game with guns. I want a Pokemon game with fashion. Okay, where's that? Where's that? Because I loved the fashion like mechanics in some of the older games. I think it was like Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. I think you could like have like beauty contests and stuff. I loved that. Where's that? Anyway, no shade to like I honestly don't have very strong opinions about Palworld. I do think like if any of the developers of Palworld are watching this for some reason, I'm just like, like tread carefully. Like I feel like we're rooting for you, but like you're getting a little too comfortable. Like some designs are a little too similar, but it's also like I want to support like a smaller studio, like trying to go up against the big boys like Game Freak and Nintendo. Anyway, I don't really know much about this, so I don't even want to get into it. I'm scared. Like I don't know. I don't have enough information, but that's just like how I feel about it from what I know. So anyway, Palworld was there. They did have a really cool looking space. I didn't go in because, as I said, I'm not really interested in playing Palworld, not interested in that, but like good for them. I'm just thinking it would have been hilarious if Palworld was there and like Pokemon or like Game Freak were like right opposite. That would be hilarious, and then they would have a showdown. That would have been so good. Where is the petty drama at TGS? That would have been so fun. Another one of the things that made it to my save for later list to check out amongst the AAA stuff was Sonic X Generations. So I know this isn't a typical cozy kind of game, but let me know if anyone out there who's watching this is also like a huge Sonic fan and has like a lot of nostalgia towards that series, because I do. Sonic games were some of the first games that got me into gaming, so I think that's a big part of why I feel this attachment to them. Plus I don't know, it's like, when I was a kid, it was like all these colorful hedgehogs and there's an Eggman, it's like, it's cute, it's fun, it's silly. Shadow the Hedgehog is so silly. He's just like this emo hedgehog. I love it. I'm so excited for the Shadow the Hedgehog movie. Like, I can't wait. I'm going to be watching it with my family because I'm traveling to see family over winter break, and I literally cannot wait. Anyway, saw the Sonic X Shadow Generation stuff. Like, there's a giant Shadow the Hedgehog. Very hard to miss. Very iconic. Very iconic. I feel like he was the biggest character, like, just anywhere that I saw during the whole of TGS. Like, Shadow the Hedgehog was the most prominent. Like, he was a giant. Like, there was no one else as big as him. Okay, he's taking over. So I marked that in my head as like, I will try to come back to this. It wasn't as high priority as Fantasy Life, just because I don't even know if I care whether that game is good or not. To be perfectly honest, I feel like I want to get it anyway, just because of the Shadow the Hedgehog nostalgia that I have. So yeah, I was like, I don't really need to try it, but if I have extra time, I will definitely come back and check this out. The final game or like studio that I saw that I got really excited about in the big game space before we went to the independent side of things was Infinity Nikki. Now, Infinity Nikki, I did not know if it was going to be at TGS or not, and maybe I could have known if I'd like Googled it. I was just like, I didn't like look up what stuff was going to be exhibited in advance. I just wanted to go in and be surprised and be excited. But it is like the one game, like other than Fantasy Life, that I kept telling my partner to, like, oh, I really want to try Infinity Nikki if it's there. I hope Infinity Nikki's going to be there. Where's Nikki? Where's she at? Like, I was keeping my eyes out. And I found her. I found Infinity Nikki. And oh my gosh, like, this was by far, I think, like the most adorable and just like charmingly designed area in TGS. And like, leave aside the cute aesthetics because I know that's not for everyone, but I just feel like they did such a great job of just creating this like environment that somehow is this like oasis pocket in the middle of TGS. Like, because keep in mind, TGS has a lot of like, like there's like giant booths with like dark, moody lighting, and it's like people are shooting stuff up, and like, good for you if you like those games. But like, they all have like kind of I guess like my point is they have like a similar aesthetic. A lot of those like are more like cool like cool gamer vibes. And like, Infinity Nikki was just like this area that was like an oasis of like, oh, we're cute, girly pop cafe. Like, come sit down. And like everyone was wearing, all the workers there, they were wearing like cute pink aprons. And you were sat like you were at a cafe. You were just chilling. You were playing Infinity Nikki. So I saw this and I was like, incredible, amazing. I am definitely coming back to play this without a doubt. I must play this by the end of the day. But I want to go to the indie section first because I also figured like at that time, like Infinity Nikki had a pretty long line. It was actually, I want to say like it was longer than the Fantasy Life line. Still not long enough, I think. I feel like it deserved a lot more hype than it did. Like, I was actually surprised that, like, when we went, like, the photo booth area was just deserted. There was no one in line. There was, like, this huge section, like, structured for a line, but there was no need because no one was lining up. So, me and my friend took a picture. I don't know how to pose for pictures. I literally just don't know how to pose for pictures. I'm so sorry, but, like, I guess maybe I'll show you the picture. But yeah, I can't believe it because it was so cute. I was like, why don't people who are better at posing than me, like, why aren't they lined up here? Like, what are you doing? Anyway, because the line seemed a little long at the time, I figured, if I crawl in at the right time towards the end of the day when people are busy with other things, I feel like the line will be a little shorter and I can, like, end my day on a relaxing note. So that was like it for like the cruising part of like the tactical like strategy of like walking through the halls, figuring out what the big games were we wanted to check out. Fantasy Life, Infinity Nikki, and Sonic X Generations. And for me, of those three, like Fantasy Life and Infinity Nikki were tied. Like I wanted to play both of them equally. I was really excited for both. Maybe a tiny bit more for Infinity Nikki just because Fantasy Life I know is already delayed till next year, and I'm like, even if I have a taste now, like I'm gonna have to wait for a while, you know what I mean? Whereas Infinity Nikki is coming out I think later this year, which maybe would be a reason that I don't need to play it at TGS, but I don't know. I'm just more excited for it. I'm more hyped for it. And then Sonic X Shadow Generations, I was like, yeah, if I have time. We went down to the indie game section next. And keep in mind, we meaning my group, like me, my partner, and our friend, we went together. We didn't take like a lunch break. We did not take a break to eat food. In fact, I don't think I really ate anything at all when I was there. Like I ate right before I entered and I ate right before we left, but I didn't like eat anything while I was there. I didn't even use the bathroom. Like you don't understand. Like that environment, first of all, is so overstimulating. And there's so much going on. You're like looking around and you're like, wow, like there's just so much. And it's just like, maybe we should have tried to get there earlier, but we would have had to wake up really, really early for that. It does take 2 hours, so whatever. We got there when we did. I'm glad we saw what we saw, but certainly, like, you could spend forever, like, going through there. Like, we could have spent days. I would have, like, I was considering going a second day because, like, the business day pass, there's 2 business days, so you could go 2 business days. And of course, I could go on the public days if I wanted to as well. One of them's today. I'm filming this on Saturday, right? And Sunday's the last day of TGS. But I gotta work, so I didn't want to go on Friday with my business pass because I gotta work. And now I'm just tired, honestly. Like, it was tiring, and I realized, like, I'd had enough. Like, one day of that nonsense was enough. But it was wonderful nonsense. We enter the indie game section. I don't know what it was actually called, but it was all the indie stuff. So as we're walking through, there were like a bunch of booths that had student games, which was awesome, and I did try a bunch of those. Some of them were like shorter experiences, so I didn't like write too much about my experience, and I unfortunately don't know the names of all the ones I tried. But I remember we tried this one where it was like a puzzle game and you're like a cat. I didn't try it, but I watched my partner play it. And it was like surprisingly addictive. Like I could see myself, me. I don't know you, but I could see myself getting into a game like that if I liked puzzle games. But I'm not really a puzzle gamer. Also, I'm not sure like what I'm looking at when I'm recording this. I've probably been mostly looking at myself because I can't help it. if you need my eye contact, I'm sorry, I cannot always give that to you. Okay, so what the heck was I talking about? Okay, so we're walking through the independent game section. There was a game that was a platformer. Actually, there were a few platformers that I tried to remember now that were in the student area. And like they were great. A lot of them had like really cool aesthetics, really beautiful art, probably good writing, though I couldn't read all of it because some of it was in Japanese. And I am studying Japanese, but my reading ability is probably the worst, like out of listening, speaking, and everything else. Like my reading is the lowest. We were making our way towards like the indie showcase section, and we wanted to head to that section first because one of our friends is I guess like today as well, like exhibiting his game there. And I've played the game before, like I've played earlier builds of it, and we wanted to check out his latest build and just like support him while he was there. As we were heading towards the indie showcase section, I noticed Hotel Galactic. Now, I had not, like, I didn't know who was exhibiting, but I wasn't expecting to see them there. And when I saw them there, I got so excited. And I was like, okay, we need to go, like, check out, like, our friend's game first and, like, see there were some other people that we knew there. But I have to come back and try Hotel Galactic. So this was also, like, a save for later situation. But, like, in the indie section where I was like, I'll come to this when I'm, like, about to leave the indie section. Because it was a small booth and, like, not very crowded, though I don't know why, because again, like Hotel Galactic for me is like a really highly anticipated game for me. It's just weird seeing it out in the wild and realizing like not a lot of people I guess know about it outside of like the cozy gaming space. I guess I noted that they were there, and I was like, cool, I'll remember where this is. This will be easy to find. So I thought it would be easy. I thought it would be easy to find Hotel Galactic again. I thought it would be easy to find Infinity Nikki again. I don't know why I assume these things when I have such a bad spatial awareness and spatial memory. But anyway, that's later in the day. First, we headed over to play Elfie. And Elfie, which is developed by a friend of ours, is an incredible game. It is basically like this Tamagotchi-esque visual novel mini game filled game where you befriend this tiny little elephant called Elfie, and the game is inspired by like a real plushie that the developer owns, and at the booth they had Elfie the plushie like actually there. And also, okay, so the booth design was on point for Elfie's booth, like the tablecloth, I don't know what to call it, and yeah, Elfie actually being there, it was just like so cute. And they had all these little postcards out of Elfie in like different situations. You know, she's out and about, she's trotting around town. So it was just so cute. And I did not play this build. I have played like earlier builds of this game and I'm really excited about it. But this time I just watched my partner play. Because there were quite a lot of people. Like there was someone always playing the game whenever I walked by. So it is like a visual novel. Like you interact with Elfie a lot. You kind of like care for her, but she's also like, she's your friend. You can play games with her. There's like this peanut blowing catching game, which is really cute, that I've tried before. And then this time there was a new game added that was like counting sheep so Elfie can go to sleep. But yeah, this game is just, I cannot wait for it to be fully released and out, because I feel like it is kind of like a game that I've always wanted, like a game like this. I love pet simulators, like I love Neopets. Hello, Neopets. I love the pet like aspects of Pokemon, even though there aren't too many of them. But you know what? Any ways to interact with like cute animal creatures in a virtual environment, I love. Tamagotchi, Webkins, like all of that stuff. Big fan. And so I feel like if you like that kind of stuff, you should go check Elfie out for sure. Wishlist that, whatever, because it's so good. It's just so good. Beautiful, cute art. And really like funny, charming writing too. I think like you can tell the dialogue has a lot of thought put into it, and like Elfie reacts to things you say in different ways, which I really love because it really just makes her feel like a real elephant. Next, I wanted to talk about videoverse. Okay, so I don't remember how I had heard about this game before, but I think I probably heard about it through another event that I go to here sometimes. It's called Tokyo Indies. I feel like maybe I saw it talked about or showcased there or something. Not sure. But anyway, videoverse, I saw the name and I saw that there was a seat open to try the game, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this game sounded really cool. Let me try it out. And y'all, it is so good. Like, this was a standout for me. Like, I'm really, really excited. I want to play it ASAP, and I do believe it is out, so I will probably be playing it soon. I think it would be a really cozy game to play as we move into the fall. How do I describe this game? So Videoverse is like so warm and charming and like nostalgia filled, and it's basically a game where it's also like kind of like a visual novel, an interactive like adventure game where you have like your desk with your stuff and you're playing as a character, like a set character, and you're learning more about the character's backstory and like their relationships with other characters in the game, and like the way you're interacting with other people in the game. I think primarily or maybe only is through this device or platform called the Shark, I believe, and like you log into it and it's basically like it's like MySpace. Okay, think like it's like MySpace or like an old school social platform, messaging platform, community board, old school forum type vibe, right? And like now, like we don't have those things. We just have subreddits for things, But it feels so nostalgic. I'm gonna keep saying that word a lot for this game, but truly like so nostalgic in such a delicious way. You like when I was playing, I was like talking to a character and like making dialogue choices with them, and like that chat box, it's like we were like video chatting, which was really cute. And then anytime like during the conversation, I could like switch over and like just look at like the community boards, like look at art that people were posting, like I don't know, like fanfic and stuff in the game. I could customize my character profile, so I could like customize like, or not my character profile, but the avatar that I was using on this platform in the game. There's a lot of customization. I could edit like the little message that I had, like the message like that's next to your name, like your bio or whatever. And then you could like go back to the chat anytime, and it would give you like notifications like when a new message appeared. So it really felt like, like this is a game, but it felt like you were really using like this old school kind of like MySpacey platform and like having a chat with someone while like just browsing some community boards, browsing forums, liking things. You could like report things to moderators. Like it just felt very immersive, and I loved it. I only got to talk to one character during my playtime session, but there were like a lot of characters like on the screen. I think like one of the screens showed like the different characters I could get to know, I believe. So I'm very interested. Like, looks like an interesting cast. I think from what I saw, it seemed very well written. Like the dialogue was well written, and I liked how like backstory was being revealed to you through like the way you were interacting with these people on this platform. And yeah, I'm super super interested in this game. Also, this game had some of the best like free swag. Not just stickers, but they also had like a game zine, and it was like an old school like game magazine themed in like with the branding of this game, I guess, Videoverse. And also they had like this little like you can create your own like game box, like this is very Gen Z of me perhaps, but I'm not Gen Z, I'm not millennial. I'm like not a girl, not yet a woman. Like I'm caught between the two. I'm 1996. I don't know what I am. But yeah, I think it was like it looked like a cassette box. Okay, I don't know if it was meant to be not like a small cassette, but like those big like video cassettes. It looked like one of those. So it was like you could get like a rolled up version of that you could take home. I haven't built the box yet at the time of filming this, but I probably will go home and build it and maybe show y'all. But it's super cute, and I just love how that goes so perfectly with the theme of the game. So I'm not going in super strict order for all the indie games that I played in this area, just because they were all in the same section and I can't quite remember which order I played them in. But one of the other ones that I played soon after Elfie was Marron's Day. And this game is by a developer who I'm already a fan of because I've played one of their previous games, which is One Night Hot Springs, which is a really like well-written, adorable looking, but also like meaningful narrative focused game about a trans person's experience going to the hot springs. Anyway, This game was not that game. This game was Marron's Day, and it was like it's a game that's for PC, but also it's on Game Boy, and it's got like these old school like graphics, like Game Boy style graphics, right? And like just like this muted pastel color palette, and you can like farm, I believe, and you could fish. Like for the portion of the game that I didn't play, but I saw my partner play, he was like looking for a fishing rod to go fishing with, and they went fishing. So definitely very like, you know, typical like farm semi cozy game mechanics in this game, and it just had this very soft fuzzy feeling to it. Great aesthetics, and cute stickers and merch as well. Another game I played while I was there that was like a surprise hit. So like so far of all the indie games I mentioned, like they're ones that I'd like heard of before or had like a connection to the developer. And Surf Club I had not ever heard of before. I saw it was near the Elfie booth, so I was like, wow, this looks interesting. Let me try it out. And I'm obsessed with it. Like this is definitely like for sure something I'm going to be playing. I know I've been using this word a lot for like a bunch of the games I've been talking about so far, but Surf Club 2 has this like very nostalgic, old school, warm feeling because the intro where it was kind of establishing the characters' relationship to each other. So one character was shooting video of the other character who was talking about their hometown. And they're talking about some sort of boat trip they were going to take and how they wanted to go surfing or something like that. But it's all just like very like warm, fuzzy video recording aesthetic. And like the dialogue felt very natural and really like just like cute and quirky. And the thing of this game is that like there's the main character who is like maybe returning to their hometown or something, or feeling nostalgic for their hometown, and like also feeling nostalgic for like their past lover, I believe, or like close friend. Besties can hold hands, but a past like close relationship that they had in their hometown, who and someone they haven't talked to in a long time. Actually, I do think the game said it was their ex. The little sequence you get to play is like set in the hometown, so I think it's like technically a flashback, and you get to like run around the beach and talk to the other character who's your ex, I guess, in the present day. But yeah, you get to talk to your ex, but in the past before they were your ex, and you get to go surfing. This game is one of those games that, like, at least from the small sliver that I played, there didn't feel like there was much that I needed to do, right, or to interact to make things happen. Like the surfing was very, very simple. I just like had to move around a little bit, but it didn't feel like there was any way to really interact much with the gameplay of what was happening with the character. But I don't think that's a bad thing. But I will just note that I think it essentially feels like an interactive, like a visual novel, but you're like inhabiting the character, but it seems like it's going to be a very story focused game. And I love that. I love story focused games. And this is also a standout for me. Like this is something I immediately was like, I'm going to play this for sure. It's just something about the visual like art style and the music and the story. Like I'm intrigued. I want to know what the story is between the main character and their ex, and like what happened and why does it seem like they left their hometown perhaps. And I love that there's surfing in it. Like it's just got this like sunny beachy California vibe. I don't know if it's set in California, but that's just like the feeling that I got from the game. So I love it, and I'm really glad I got to try it. So this next game was also something that took me by surprise. Like had never heard about this game before, and it's a beautiful, beautiful game. It's called Miniatures, and from my understanding from the demo I played, I think it's the kind of game where like there's several like vignettes that you kind of play through. Maybe I'm wrong, but like in the demo that I played, I think there were 2 different vignettes that I played through, and I played through both of them. One of them I'm not sure if I finished, but the other one I definitely did. But the vignettes themselves were not, like, they weren't obviously connected, but I think they could have been. I just don't have enough context yet to know. But essentially, this is also a game that's like basically a visual novel or like an interactive story where you're just inhabiting a character and you're like performing simple actions, like you're clicking, you're collecting things, you're matching things sometimes, I think. But it's like very, very simple gameplay, and it's very much more focused on the story and the mood the music and the art, and like, oh, I loved the art in this game. I loved the music. I loved how understated everything felt. Like, I do feel like this is a very narrative focused game, but the narrative isn't something that's like explicitly kind of told to you. It's kind of just unveiled to you as you play through the character that you're inhabiting. So like one of the vignettes, you were some sort of like carpenter or like builder of things. Sorry, I don't know. Like they were doing screws and like they were hammering and doing stuff to wood, right? So carpenter probably. And it was this really like interesting story where at first I thought it was gonna be like, before I got like kind of what this game was all about, I thought, oh, this is just maybe a puzzle game. Like maybe it's building up to like puzzles and it's just teaching me the simple mechanics first. Like I was just clicking places and putting screws in places, matching putting the same type of screws in the same jar, things like that, like sorting. But then like you start to go through these like quick little sections, like little slice of life cutscenes, and you realize like there's like this changing relationship between the person who's mentoring you and like you yourself, the character you play as. But you don't actually see these characters' faces. The whole time you just see the hands. And like it builds and it builds, and then there's like this supernatural element, or at least it felt that way to me, that comes in. And like it's not explained to you. Like there's no words in this vignette. This first one that I played. So it's not explained. It's just like something like you take away and like kind of chew on and interpret yourself. But I thought it was really beautiful, and it really just made me think about, like, it felt like they were trying to do something, maybe like taking that feeling of what happens when you try to live up to the expectations of someone else, like the mentor in this case, and you feel like you're failing to live up to those expectations, and like that feeling that builds inside you, and like kind of making that feeling feel more real and present in the world. That's just one of the little snippets that I played, but you should try this game. The other one I played was different because it actually, you could see it wasn't just people's hands like carpentering or whatever. It was like a different set of characters. And you were like in this house, and you were controlling this character who would like walk around, and their dad was there, and like you were like performing little tasks and kind of learning as you played like more about this family, I guess, and like the relationship that I think this child has to like their father and their mother. The mother would keep calling, and yeah, also like had an incredible sense of mood. It was such a quiet, peaceful game. Like I felt like when I was playing this, I felt transported, and I almost forgot that I was at TGS around like, I don't know, hundreds of other people, loud, bright lights. Like I almost like could tune that all out just because it was such an immersive, such a beautiful game. Pompon Doo Doo. So I don't have too much to say about this game because I actually like, I went up to their booth so excited because I saw that they had this adorable art, like these cute little animal looking things, and I was like, this looks like it's for me. I think it said it was like a pet simulation type game maybe somewhere, and I was like, okay, I must go there. But unfortunately, the build they had at TGS was only in Japanese, and as I said before, I unfortunately suck at reading Japanese. I'm working on it, but I cannot read kanji very well. So I couldn't really like get through to play the game because I was like just at the very beginning, clicking through, trying to figure out what was going on, and it was a lot of writing. So I was like, okay, maybe this isn't the right time to play this. I'll let someone else play this who can actually understand the words. But I talked to the exhibitors who were there, the developers or whoever was exhibiting the game. They were really sweet, and they gave us these really adorable badges. They were so cute. And I looked up this game, and it's like on Android, and like the released version does have English. So you can play this in English. It was just the TGS demo wasn't in English. And it's like a pet sim game. It's on Android, and it looks so sweet. And I have not tried it yet, but I am going to install it and try it for sure. And I'll let you know how I feel about it. I just, I don't usually play mobile games, so that's like the only thing that kind of is like, I'm a little not sure about it. But it just looks very up my alley, and as I said, like I love anything involving pets, so I feel like I have to try this out at least. Okay, so as I was wandering around, I saw that there was a game that had cats. There were cats in the game, and I saw it from far away, and I made a beeline towards this game, obviously, right? This game is called Copycat, and I sat down and played this one for a while. I think it said that the demo was 45 minutes, But there was so much else that I still had to see, so I didn't sit down and play the full demo, even though if I had the time, I would have loved to. Like, I did not want to stop playing. I just felt like I had to with this game. But I think I played like a solid 15 minutes. In this game, the premise is so funny. The premise is that you are a cat that got adopted from a shelter and you go home to your owner and everything's fine, but then a stray cat comes in, and I guess this cat like looks exactly like you and like takes your place and like pretends to be you and then gets to live your life as a copycat. So that's why it's called a copycat. And I just thought that was so funny because usually I think of like, I don't know, like I saw the cat game and I was like, oh, it's a cute cat game. But I was like, oh, this is sinister. Like, this is kind of like, this could be a horror. I don't think it's a horror game. I'm not actually 100% sure. Nothing about it gave me horror vibes. I think it's more just like a very story-based game. And it definitely has a lot of humor in it, but I do just think the premise is hilariously petty. Like, it's incredibly petty and so funny. Anyway, unfortunately, at the point I got to in the demo, I didn't actually get to see the premise play out, so I read the premise and I was like, this is so interesting. I didn't get to see the copycat take my place yet. I would have loved to see that. But the sequence I played through was like you go in and at first you're actually playing as the human character. I forget their name, but like the owner, who's like this older person who's looking for a cat at the shelter. And you get to pick which cat you adopt, which is actually the cat you play as. So that's actually the character customization. Like, the character creator is actually like, you get to choose the cat. You can't like customize the cats themselves, but you get to choose like from, I think, 6 different options, which is pretty nice. I chose a black cat. Then there's this like sequence where you're like riding home, and then you go home and you get to like be the cat from that point on. And from what I understand, I think most of the game you're going to be the cat after that. But clearly the owner plays a really important role because there's like these little tidbits of story that were being fed to me of like the owner has some sort of health issue or memory issue or something is implied. So there's something going on for sure, but we don't really know what it is yet. And you get to be the cat and like run around the house and like do silly cat things, like tear up the toilet paper and all that, which is great. So fun. I think it felt fun to be the cat. Like, just running around being the cat felt very good. And as I said, like, I only tore myself away from the demo because I had other games I knew I wanted to get to, like Hotel Galactic, Infinity Nikki, Fantasy Life, hello. I think this is a game to keep your eye on for sure if you're a fan of Stray, Little Kitty Big City, which I need to get on playing that. And Copycat. I feel like these are the cat games now. We have like a evolving genre of like cat as protagonist game, which I love. The other thing that I did like about this game is like the cat is not a silent protagonist. So like the cat has like things to say, but you hear it like when you're playing as the cat, you see the cat's thoughts written out, which is really funny because there's a lot of humor injected into that and a lot of like sassy like just cat-like dialogue. Like, I feel like this is how a cat would be, and I think that's so funny, and I think that allows like you to like connect with the cat more and really like understand how the cat's feeling. It's really sweet, honestly, because also like when you're first arriving at the house, it really captures that sense of like the cat is scared, like the cat doesn't know why it should trust this human, and you like me as a human, I'm assuming you're a human too. If you're not, let me know. I would love to know if some of my audience are non-humans. Love that. You're welcome here. I'm inclined to like, you know, connect with the human character and be like, oh, like, well, this person is like rescuing this cat. That's wonderful. But then you're playing as the cat and you're seeing like just how like, you know, you're freaked out. You don't know this person. You don't know why you should trust another human. You don't want to come out of your cage. You're going to hiss. You're going to bite. And that makes so much sense. It made me kind of like sad. It makes me emotional thinking about it because, you know, shelter cats, of course, any like animals that go to shelters have usually end up there because they've not had great life circumstances, and you know, God, I don't want to start crying, but like, you know, I think this game is like, I like all the kind of emotional notes that this game hits, where it's like it seems like it has like kind of a more meaningful narrative, involving like the owner and involving the cat and this idea of like, you know, adopting a cat into your life. But there's also like the humor of just being the cat and messing with things. So the next game I saw, I actually don't have a lot to say, but you probably have heard of it. It's called Caravan Sandwich. And I didn't play it, didn't get a chance to, but I watched my partner play a little bit. Now this is one of those games where I was like, I don't need to play this because I know I'm going to buy it. Like, I'm 100% going to play this game. I don't need to try it. I know. And he loved it too. My partner was super into it and was saying how it reminds him of Sable, which I think is definitely a good comparison. Caravan Sandwich is an open world game, but like there's no combat, I believe, so it's just kind of like a chill open world. You're exploring, you're driving your caravan around, and it's just a lovely game. Don't really have much else to say about it, but like, love it, want to play it. I think I am gonna skip the peaches because I don't want to have sticky hands. Like, I can't be walking around with sticky hands. I am not like a 2-year-old. I can't be sticky handed. I have to make do with these. After I'd played all the other games I talked to you about, I wanted to get to Hotel Galactic because, as I said, I'd seen it before. I knew I wanted to play it, but I was kind of like running out of time. I think it was already, I want to say like 4:15 or something. Like, it was really late in the day, and like TGS ends at 5. So I was like, oh God, like I need to hurry and see if I can find it. If not, like I just need to head straight to Fantasy Life and Infinity Nikki because they're waiting for me. Luckily I was able to find Hotel Galactic, and I think it was actually like, at this point it was probably 4. Yeah. So it was like 4-ish. I found Hotel Galactic. After a lot of like wandering around in circles. I must have looked really weird. I was just like going around in circles over and over trying to find it. I eventually found it. It was really hard to find. And I went into the booth, and the developers were super sweet. I played the demo. It was like 15 minutes long, and it was made especially for TGS. So the demo actually referenced Tokyo Game Show, and it was saying like, let's get the hotel ready for Tokyo Game Show. Now, Hotel Galactic, if you haven't heard of it already, is an upcoming hotel management game, right? And I think what's special about it is like the hotel is meant to be this intergalactic hotel, so there's like some aliens like in the game, which I love. I love anything involving aliens, of course. And I think what makes this game really special and what makes me excited about it too is just the art direction. It feels very Ghibli-esque and Ghibli-inspired. It reminds me a lot of Spirited Away, which I actually recently rewatched Spirited Away, and I just can't believe that movie just never, like, I haven't rewatched it in a very long time, but I've watched it several times in the past, and it's like, kind of like a lot of the time has been my default answer for what my favorite movie of all time is just Spirited Away. That's a really hard question to answer, but I feel like that feels like it's an answer that I can get on board with. But anyway, I recently rewatched Spirited Away, and it just hit the same way it always hits, like maybe even more so, like watching it at the age I'm at now, like it just, I don't know, like it's just such a special movie. And Hotel Galactic reminds me of Spirited Away, and the demo did not disappoint. I was super excited for this game, and I will say I'm just more excited now after I played the demo. What I did during the demo was, it kind of just took you through a sequence of like kind of some basic stuff. Like, it was very tutorial-esque. It was like giving you a chance to try a couple of different things. So I got to understand how to like manage the staff and make them do different tasks around the hotel, and how to like collect wood and collect stone to build rooms, to build furniture to put in the guest room so you can create your own guest rooms. It's kind of like Spiritfarer-y. Actually, this game kind of reminds me of Spiritfarer too, in the sense that the vibes of it a little bit, like the beautiful art and the beautiful music, and also because you're managing like this hotel in this case, instead of a boat, and you get to like build rooms like along a grid, and then you can drag furniture in there. And yeah, I didn't get to do too much decoration. Like, I got to do a little bit. Like, you got to decorate like one guest room in the demo. I was clicking around on like every single object and kind of just seeing the options, and I think there's a lot you can do. Like, you can, freely place things in the first place, and then you can move them later. And in this game, the way it works, I think, is like you place an object, but because like it's a management game, like then you have to wait for the staff to come and like build it in that place. And then if you want to move the object, you can select where you want to move it to instantly, but then the staff will come and they will move it for you, because that's the point. You're managing this hotel. So just keep that in mind. I guess like if you're decorating, like if you're moving things around after first placing them, I guess it will take some time. Maybe there's a different decoration mode that lets you like instantly move things. I don't know, but that's just what I observed in terms of decor. In terms of other stuff, there was also this sequence where so you set up the guest rooms and then you let the guests arrive, and they arrive in this little ship and they like walk into the hotel, which is so cute. You like open up the lobby to them and then you like assign them rooms so you can decide who stays where, which is fun. And then they all came into the dining room and you got to have like this little diner dash moment where you have to take their orders, and then the staff takes care of like creating the meals, but you kind of just have to make sure like, you know, you're managing the timing and like making sure people's orders are being taken in a timely manner and like the food is being given to them, whatever. You can speed up the time. So it took me a while to realize that, but you can just speed up the time. So if something's taking a while, like some of the building, when I was building like the guest room and the bathroom and the toilet, it was a lot of just collecting materials. So you could just speed up the time through that until it was done. And I played with mouse and keyboard, and the controls did feel really intuitive. I think at the very beginning I got a little confused about how to like navigate around the map smoothly. I was using the scroll wheel, and then they told me it was easier if I used my arrow keys. But other than that, I didn't really need much help at all. There was only one part of the demo I got a little stuck in, though I think I would have figured that out, but someone was watching me play, one of the developers, and they came and like helped me out, which was very sweet of them. I just like was wondering like how to craft basically, and how to get to the craft menu, which there was like a crafting station that I'd accidentally blocked from my own view because I'd moved something else in front of it, so it was kind of my fault. But I figured it out, and I do think overall all the actions I performed were pretty intuitive. The only thing that I actually gave to them as feedback, because the developers were super cool and they were like very eager to get feedback. They had this survey that you would take afterwards, but unfortunately the Wi-Fi was being mean and they couldn't pull the survey up for me. But I did give them just some quick verbal feedback, and I said basically, I love your game, I'm obsessed with it, can't wait to play it. Constructive feedback was just that at the time when I played this demo, there's no way to see what tasks you have queued up. So for example, you tell a member of staff to like go chop some wood, and then go clean up the junk in the bathroom, and then go take this order. So you have these like 3 tasks in queue, but there's nowhere that the game like shows you these 3 tasks in a queue. It's easy to wonder like why a worker is like not doing something right now. Like you can't see like all the other tasks they have to complete before they do the thing that you're like waiting for them to do. You can cancel things easily, it's just that you can't see the queue. So anyway, I gave them that feedback, and it sounded like that's already on their radar for something they want to address for sure. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think the final thing I have to say about Hotel Galactic is that I really love that it, I guess, is going to be very like quest based. I don't know if that's just like the demo, of course, that's like really guided and it's like do this and do that and prepare for TGS, like that's like the thing of the demo. But I do feel like it feels like it's going to be like a very quest based like management game, and I like that. I like some direction. I like being given goals and tasks for things to do. Honestly, like this is a game where like I played it, and this was another game like miniatures where I kind of just like got in a flow state and could almost forget that I was at TGS in this very overwhelming environment and just kind of get lost in this like very whimsical, beautiful world. And yeah, I really, really can't wait for this game. I feel like it is going to be a game that I could be obsessed with. Okay. So that was the end of my traipse through the indie section of TGS. Those are all the indie games I played, for the most part, or all the ones that like stood out. And I had such a good time with them. So by the time I wrapped up Hotel Galactic, I think it was like 4:20, maybe 4:25. And I was like, oh my God, I need to get out of the indie game section, go back to the main building where all the other big AAA stuff is. I need to find Fantasy Life. I need to find Infinity Nikki. And I need to maybe saunter over to the Shadow the Hedgehog stuff, whatever. Those were the 3 things, right? And so I zoomed back over all by myself, like I ditched my friends, my partner, because I was like, I gotta go. I have something I need to do. Luckily, right as I came down into the hall, like I'd remembered like Fantasy Life was in hall 5 or 6 or something, and I remembered correctly, thank God. And so I saw it immediately as I descended the escalator, and I was like, all right, Fantasy Life first because I see it right there. Let's go. I got in line. The line was really quick. It was only like 5 minutes, honestly. I think the space was set up in a really cute way. You know, it just screamed fantasy life. You know, it just looked like fantasy life, and the way it worked was like four of us would be like taken to a table and they gave us like a quick little rundown of instructions. They said like the demo's only 10 minutes. What language would you like it to be in? And then you'd go play the demo. The demo was available in Japanese and English. I played in English. Here's the thing. I hadn't heard, so I knew Fantasy Life had been delayed, of course. And I was like, okay, I'm sad, but also like it's fine because I'm just really excited to see what they do with this extra time. Like, it's okay, I can wait. Especially because I've been playing the original Fantasy Life on my 3DS. I'd never played it before. I only started playing it for the first time, like, earlier this year because I wanted to, like, catch up and, like, get in on the hype for this next Fantasy Life. And I'm really enjoying the original Fantasy Life a lot. And now that I know the new one's delayed, I'm just, like, going to take my time with the original. I hadn't really kept up with the other news about, like they dropped a new trailer, I think, just the other day, right before TGS perhaps, where they showed off like, you know, like big open world map is like a new kind of thing they're going for that the original game didn't have, and things like that. So I wasn't aware of that when I played the demo. I saw this news after and I was like, oh yeah, it was an open world. When I started playing and one of the first things I did was open up the map, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a big world. So that took me by surprise. And it was exciting. I was like, okay, there's a big world. There's all these pins on the map. There's like speech bubbles indicating like places where you can go talk to NPCs. There's like enemy bosses marked and like this whole world, like big world. And like they start you off in like this desert, like sandy area. But you can also like run over and get to like this greener area. So like those were the areas I got to play in. And these were like very combat heavy areas, like there were enemies everywhere. The classes you could play as, so there were 15 classes total. You could see it in the menu. And I think there were 5 classes available to play in the demo. It was like, let me think. Woodcutter, Angler, Miner maybe, and then Paladin, Magician. I feel like that might be slightly off, but it was something like that. And so I was a little sad because I'm mostly interested in the other lives. Like I want to farmer, tailor, like those are the lives I'm more interested in. Not as interested in the combat in this game, but I was still like, okay, fine, cool. Like this is like a very combat centric demo. It's really about exploration and fighting. Cool, let's go. There's a little bit of story, a little bit character dialogue. From what I could see, the tone of the dialogue and like the writing was very in line with the original game, which I personally like. I think it's very like irreverent, like very silly, very cute, not taking itself too seriously, which I think is fun. So I enjoyed that and glad to see that return. So I like ran around during the demo and I feel like I'm sure like some people played it a lot better than me, like probably speed ran through it and like got to see a lot more than me, but I was just like taking my time, just seeing like how I felt playing the game. I think the controls felt really intuitive, really easy to get in and out of. I think the switching between the lives, like they've kind of built on the mechanics they already had in the original game, and it's like very smooth. Like even if you're playing as like a paladin, for example, and you're fighting things, you just automatically switch when you go over to tree to woodcutter life to get the wood, and then you can switch back immediately to be a paladin again. So it's like it's very smooth, very easy. I believe the original game has some element of this, but it looks like this game is even more so made it easy to switch, because not only does it auto switch when you're like foraging and stuff, which I think the original game does if I'm remembering correctly, but in the new game you can also just open up your menu anytime and like change your life, which I believe the original game you could not do that. I feel like you could have to like I know I said I'm playing it, but I haven't played it in the last 2 months, which is why I'm like trying to remember, because I thought Fantasy Life 2 was going to come out soon, so I wanted to stop playing the original for a bit. But I believe like the original game, it was a little bit harder to like switch lives with intention. Like I think you had to go to like the licensing store or something, not the store, the licensing office, and then like switch your life. In this game you just open up the menu, so I think that's pretty cool. I looked around the menu a bunch because I was also just like looking at the UI. The UI is really updated, very new and improved. It feels a lot, I guess, better and more modern. There was a horse, so you could like ride around on your horse. That felt very easy, very smooth. You could call them over, hop off them real quick. Like I think what I felt was like transitioning between the different elements of the game felt very smooth and really easy. Going from foraging to combat to on your horse, off the horse, it all just felt really easy, and I really like that. I ran past a lot of the enemies because I was just trying to see what I could see on the map as well. I talked to some NPC creatures. There was this creature that looked like a, I forget what it was. It was some sort of plant or fruit or something. And I was wondering, I don't know why I thought this, but I saw it and I was like, I wonder if this is something like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, where it's like a Korok. Like this is a little guy that you can find in many places around the world. Maybe I'm wrong, but something about it just felt that way. But I do think if they are doing an open world, it would be really fun to have some sort of element of that. I'm someone who loves exploring in games, and I love a good like scavenger hunt vibe. So I do hope they have some element of that if they're gonna have an open world, like, you know, make it interesting, hide things in it. I don't know how I feel about the open world itself, because like open world games can be fantastic, right? Breath of the Wild is one of my favorite games ever. There's other open world games that I love too, like The Witcher 3. I can't think of other ones right now, but you know, there's other games. But I do feel like I am someone that also really appreciates a smaller scoped world, a small detailed world. And so I always worry when a game is going open world that they're just doing it because it's like trendy, and it sounds amazing because it's like, wow, you can go anywhere, you can do anything. But it's like, if the world is like empty and lifeless, what's the point, right? So I don't know yet. From what I played of the new Fantasy Life, I didn't see enough to know like how good the open world was going to be. Like, I feel like what I saw in the demo felt really good. It felt like there was a lot. There were like different like interesting like visual things. Like there was this giant skeleton to look at. There was a cave. Was there a cave? I don't remember if there was a cave. But there were like different elements, different things like going on. The land felt very like varied, so it felt very interesting to navigate. But you know, it was the demo, so we'll have to see, you know, how like the whole world pans out and how the whole map ends up being. I am really sad that you couldn't really do like other things in this demo, or at least I didn't get to it in the demo. Maybe it was there and I just spent too much time dilly-dallying, but I don't think there was a way to like decorate or build things in the demo, or a way to terraform, but I do know that those are features in the game. So I wish I could have tried it. I wish this demo had been more focused on kind of the chill aspects of Fantasy Life, because I think that's what appeals to me about the game, is like the idea of like, I can make clothes and like decorate my house and all that stuff and make a waterfall or whatever, right? Like just like Animal Crossing New Horizons, but that's okay. I can wait. I trust that this will be an incredible game. There's nothing to tell me that it won't be. I also messed around with just changing gear and stuff, which felt very easy. I think it's a lot easier than the original game now. So I really hope they have a lot of clothing items and dress up stuff, because I feel like it's going to be really fun to dress up in this game. You can dress up in whatever outfits you want regardless of your life, even though there are like outfits still for each life, it looks like. Because in the demo there was like a fisher outfit, for example, but you didn't have to wear it all the time. So like, yeah, you could mix and match things basically. In this demo, a party member joins you and they were really chatty, I noticed, which I think was cute. Like they were saying things, encouraging stuff when you were doing different activities, if you were fighting, if you were, I think when you were like cutting trees and stuff too, like they would like say words of encouragement, which is cute. I don't know how much personality these party members will have in general, but it was fun. It was nice to have help, and I do like that that's a thing you can do. I believe they had this in the original game too, or like they had some way of having like a helper come help you, I think. But in this game, I'm definitely glad that you can have a party member, because I think for people who like maybe just want to blast through the combat and don't want to worry about it, like me, you can just get someone else to fight them for you. Fight the enemies, that is. Final thing I will say about Fantasy Life is I think, you know, the graphics are definitely like a huge step up from the original 3DS game. I mean, as to be expected, it would be weird if it looked the same. But it looks a lot more crisp. Everything's a lot more like detailed and like close up. Like you can see the details of the world and the characters, which I think is really nice. Yeah, and I feel like that's going to make it a lot more fun to play, especially like when the game involves elements like decorating and like making outfits and stuff. I think it's going to be even more gratifying to do those things, knowing that you can really appreciate the visuals of that. So I'm really looking forward to that. Fantasy Life is coming out in April 2025. I wonder why it was delayed to that time. Wonder why other games like Tales of the Shire are also delayed to a similar time window. Could it be Switch 2? I don't know. But basically, after playing this demo, I was definitely left hungry for more. Like, I was like, please, I want to try more. I want to play more, which is a good thing. So I don't think I was surprised by anything in the demo, I will say. I think that was the only thing that I felt maybe like a slight bit of disappointment of like, I don't feel like there was anything that like I was like, wow, about in the demo. Everything felt like what I expected, but it met my expectations for sure. And my expectations are pretty high for this game. So, you know, I'm definitely extremely excited for Fantasy Life, the new one, still, and April can't come fast enough. Okay. We have been here for a while, and I'm approaching the end of my day at TGS. Now, you'll remember the other two games that I wanted to play in the big game section, other than Fantasy Life, were Infinity Nikki and Sonic X Shadow Generations. Now, Sonic X Shadow Generations, at this point, it was already 4:45 when I finished the Fantasy Life demo, and I was like, there's no way I'm getting to that game. Sorry, Shadow. I'm going to see you later. I'm going to see you in December. It's fine. Or October is, I think, when the game releases, but the movie's in December. Infinity Nikki, though, I was like, I have got to play that game before the day ends. And I had 15 minutes left, right? And I was like, I remembered Infinity Nikki being pretty close to Fantasy Life. Like, it wasn't too far away. So I was like, I'm sure it's in the same hall, right? It was in the same hall. I remembered it was in the same hall. I was wrong. I walked around in circles for a while in the same hall as Fantasy Life, wondering why I couldn't find Infinity Nikki and panicking. And then I was like, okay, I must have misremembered. It must be in a different hall, which was correct. So I went to a different hall. I think that was the one with palworld. I walked around more. I don't know where I even ended up, but I eventually found Infinity Nikki. But it was like 5:02. And there was still, like, I think 1 or 2 people inside playing the demo. There were people in there, but the line was closed. Yeah, the line was closed. And I was so sad because I really had this, like, idea, like, I was going to end my day at TGS at Infinity Nikki, playing in a cute cafe, playing Infinity Nikki, you know. I did not get to do that, but you know what? That having that experience and missing out on playing it has just made me more like excited because I'm like, I need to play it. Like, I want to play it. And I did sign up for the closed beta, I think, that they're going to be having in a few weeks. So fingers crossed I get in. I don't know if I will, but I was so sad that I didn't get to play at TGS. I was like, at least maybe I'll get to play closed beta. So that was my day at Tokyo Game Show 2024. After living through the disappointment of not getting to play Infinity Nikki, I moved on with my life. I left TGS with my partner and our friend, and we actually walked over to the nearby bay. Like, we were overlooking the Tokyo Bay, so like the water was there, the ocean, and it was sunset, so it was like absolutely perfect. It was really beautiful. We got to watch the sunset, see the city skyline, and just kind of like cleanse our brains of all the just like input that we took in that day, right? Because there was just so much to look at. So it felt really nice to just like be out in nature, you know, grounding ourselves in the sand felt really good. And after that, we went out to eat at Caesarea, which is like this Italian diner place here that's super cheap. And it was great. We had a wonderful meal. It was really fun hanging out. And then we all went home. That's it. I am curious to know if there's any games that I talked about that you were also interested in, anything that you didn't know about before that you just heard about. Were you at TGS? How was it for you? I would love to know. I would love to talk to y'all. If anyone's watching this out in the void, if you're listening and you feel comfortable speaking out, feel free to leave a comment because I would love to talk to you and just like get to know who's watching. But no pressure. If you're a lurker, that's fine. I am also a chronic lurker, so I would never judge you for that ever. There's people flying kites here. It's so lovely. Such a lovely day, honestly. It's a cloudy day, but it's lovely. And I have had a wonderful picnic here. I finished my food, which wasn't a lot. I just had like a sandwich and some chocolate. But I'm gonna go home and eat my peaches and edit this video. Now, if you heard me talking about all those games and you're like, I already knew about all those games, or I'm not interested in those games, I want other games. What other games can I play? Cozy games where? I have another video that I already put out about new and upcoming cozy games. A lot of them are already available as well. That were in the Game Devs of Color showcase. So if you're interested, feel free to check that video out. I will be uploading every week. I hope I will. I have so many ideas. I'm really excited about this channel and there's so much I want to do with it. If there's anything you would like to see from me, let me know. And if you enjoy this, you know what to do. See you in the next one. Goodbye.